everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today we're going to be going over the books that I read in April, as well as a little life update. Okay, so starting with the life update first. Sorry that things have been kind of all over the place. It might not seem all over the place to you, but it definitely feels all over the place to me. So, we are moving. We're going to be moving next week, which is crazy. And we're going to be moving from Idaho to Oregon, which is really exciting. My husband got a new job. He got laid off from his last one. There was like a whole big thing. They laid off over 1,000 people. And it was a great opportunity for us to try something new. So, we are trying something new in Oregon. There will only be one video next week because of that, but hopefully you enjoy it. So that's my life update. Sorry things have been so crazy, and let's get into the books that I read in April. Also, because of all of this, I read less books than I have been so far this year, but I still got in a good amount. So the first book that I read was Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. This is about the character Kaikeyi from the Ramayana, I think is what it's called. Pretty sure. And basically she is a queen and she has these sons, and one of her sons is also a god, and he wants power and control, and she thinks that he needs more time and that he is getting too power hungry and he is controlling other people, and so she uses her influence to banish him, and in return it causes her to be shunned by everybody and hated by everybody. So I am deciding to not read this book, and let me tell you why. So I did enjoy my reading experience, but when I sat down to read a lot of the reviews, a lot of the negative reviews were from people who are practicing Hindus, and they said that it was disrespectful to the original story, which is something that they still believe. And as a religious person myself, I am a Christian, I didn't feel like it was right for me to rate this book because this is kind of like a retelling. In the past, I've really enjoyed like Greek mythology retellings, but that's not an active religion anymore. People do not practice that religion anymore, and so it's fine for me to say, oh, that's mythology, because no one practices that religion anymore. However, for this, people still practice Hinduism, and this is a story that they believe in, and so I don't think that it's fair for me to say, oh, it's just a myth, just because it's not necessarily like part of my religion and something that I believe. I just don't think that that's fair of me to do, because I am not a practicing Hindu, and so that's why I chose not to rate it. I did enjoy the story, and I think, you know, as a story in and of itself, it's really good. It was very well written, and I think that it was really interesting, and it taught me some different things about Indian culture and Hinduism that I thought were really cool, and I would love to learn more about that. But for that reason, I'm not going to be rating it, because I don't want to be disrespectful to those who are still practicing that religion. The next book that I read was also religious, and that was The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I gave this 5 stars. I did a whole reading vlog around this and the next book because it was books that my mom recommended to me. So you can check that out. It's called Can My Mom Be Trusted? It was a really fun one. I really enjoyed this. I thought that it had some really awesome insights. Basically, you are reading letters written from like one demon to another demon, and like from a better demon to a not as good demon, on how to get people to go to hell instead of heaven. So that's basically the premise of it. And I thought it was very interesting, and it makes you think a lot, and I think it's a great read for Christians. Even if you're not Christian, I think you could still enjoy it because I think it's a fun concept. The next book that I read was The Chase by Clive Cussler. I gave this like a 3.5, maybe 3.75. This is about a guy named Isaac Bell, I think, and he is like a private detective, and he is trying to catch somebody who is a bank robber and is killing a bunch of people, and basically you're just like following him. I thought that it was like interesting. I thought the history was cool. Again, you can look at that video for a more in-depth review, but it just wasn't like the most interesting thing to me. So the next book that I read, I listened to on audio, and that was Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I had never read it or watched the movie before or anything, and it's not what I thought that it was. Like, I thought that it was about like a fairy or something, And that's not the case. Basically, you are following the main character. What's her name? Millie? Hold on, let me check. Winnie! Her name is Winnie. That's just completely wrong. Anyway, not that her name is Winnie, the fact that I thought it was Millie. I digress. We're following a little girl named Winnie. She is 10 years old, and she runs into this family, and they are the Tucks, and they drink out of a spring in the forest that made them live forever. And you're just kind of following their little story, and it's only over like a few days. And I just thought that it was very cozy and very sweet. I really enjoyed the vibes of it. The only thing that's a little bit questionable about this book is the fact that, okay, this is kind of a spoiler, so I guess if you don't want spoilers for Tuck Everlasting, skip to this timestamp here. The only thing that kind of bothered me about it is that the son, Jesse, is 17, but he's actually like 100-something, and he tells Winnie that she should wait till she's 17 and drink out of the spring too, so she can also live together and marry him. And that's just a little bit questionable because he, even though he's like, was trapped in a 17-year-old's body, he's been alive for over 100 years, and he is attracted to this 10-year-old girl. So that's a little bit questionable, but that's the only thing that I didn't really like about it, so yeah. The next book that I read was also for a video, and I did this video with my friend Harmony at Harm's Honey. Go watch all of her stuff and go follow her. She's amazing. I absolutely love her. We did a video where we swapped books for each other. We annotated them and stuff. And the book that she got from me was Shady Hollow by Juno Black. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't really like go into a super in-depth review in that. You'll see more of my review in her version of it, and you can watch the whole video to find out why. But basically, this book, we are following a fox named Vera Dixon, and there has been a murder in Shady Hollow, which is like something that's never happened. It's a super cozy town, and she is a reporter, and she's going to solve the murder. So it's very cozy, it's not very dark or anything, and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the world that we were in here, and all of the characters were just so fun to read from, and they all had such distinct personalities, and I'm really excited to continue on in this series. So I gave that a 5-star. Don't know if I said that. The next book that I read was The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgkin Burnett. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a classic that I had never read. I watched the movie when I was little, but my sister Sarah was like, hey, you should read this. It's a book that feels like spring, and it was in my spring TBR. If you missed that video, go watch it. And yeah, I had never read it before, but I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that it was fun. I loved the character development that we see with Mary, because in the beginning she is such a brat. She's so annoying because she's spoiled, and basically it takes place in the 1800s when England was occupying India, so she grew up in India because that's where her father was, and then like her parents both got ill and died, and so she was shipped back to England to live with her uncle. And her uncle's wife had passed away 10 years prior, and they had a garden together, and he locked it up because he didn't want to remind him of his wife. And so that's why it's called The Secret Garden, and she finds it, and it's really sweet, and I loved it. That was the 7 books that I read in the month of April. Hopefully I can get some good books in the month of May, even though I'm moving. But yeah, let me know if you read any of these, what your thoughts were, and go check out all of those videos that I talked about. I know it's a lot, but hey, now you have some videos to catch up on. So anyway, if you like this video and you would like to see more from me, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any, and I will see you in the next one.